Good morning, students. Welcome to English Kumar Bharti class, that is lecture. Children, today we are going to see Unit 4, 4.2, lesson The Luncheon. First, let us understand what is luncheon or what do you mean by luncheon. Luncheon is a famous short story written by the author named William Somerset Maugham. The word luncheon means a light midday meal. Okay, so that's the meaning of luncheon. Now let us see what is the story about. So this story is about the writer himself, that is about William Somerset, and a 40-year-old lady who claims that she is a writer's fan. Okay, and she expresses that I've become very impressed. I've got very impressed by your art, that is your style of writing, and so I wish to meet you once. Okay, she expresses her wish to meet him, that is William, at a high class restaurant for the luncheon. So this was about the introduction. Let us see the introductory para, which is given on page number 151 of your course book. I'll be reading it and explain you simultaneously. William Somerset Maugham, born in the year 1874 and died in 1965, was a distinguished British playwright, novelist, and short story writer. He was among the most popular writers of his era and reputedly the highest paid author during the 1930s. His work is characterized by a clear, unadorned style, cosmopolitan settings, and a shrewd understanding of human nature. So children, this para says that William was born in the year 1874 and he died in 1965. Now, how was he? He was a very different. Distinguished means different. He was very different as compared to other writer of that time. He was a British playwright. You know what is a playwright? A person who write the script of the plays, that is drama. He was a novelist, means he also used to write novels, and he was a short story writer. He was among the most popular, as I told you, he was a popular writer of that era, that time, his time. And because of his popularity, he was the highest paid writer during the 1930s. So which era he belongs? This is a thing of the 1930s. And at that time, he was the highest paid author, as his writing, the art of writing was liked by everyone at that time. His work shows simple style. He used to be very simple in his writing. Unadorned means simple style. Cosmopolitan means he used to bring different places in his story, different characters in this story. Like for example, in this story also he is taking us to Paris. So in such way, his story used to belong to different places, different characters, and a shrewd understanding of a human nature. Shrewd matlab shy. That means he used to picturize human nature. He used to show that how human nature is in his story. Like in this story, as I told you in the introduction of, that is the summary of the lesson, that there are two characters mentioned in this story, that is the writer himself, William Somerset himself, and one lady. So he is trying to show that this lady was very selfless, very shameless kind of a lady, that we are going to see further. Moving to the next para, a most delightfully humorous narrative, The Luncheon is a slice of life story about Maugham's luncheon date proposed to him by a woman whom he hopes is a supporter of his art. So he says that this story is little humorous, a funny kind of a story. And the title of this story is The Luncheon. As I told you, luncheon means a light midday meal. And this is a slice of life, means this story is a part of my life. This story is a part story of my life. You can imagine a part of writer's life. And here Mogum was proposed for a lunch by a 40-year-old lady, and she claims that I am Mogum's, that means writer's supporter, or I can say fan. Supporter here means fan of his art, that is his writing, his style of writing. So that was about the introductory para. We are gonna see the actual story line by line, and I'll explain you simultaneously. It's a very funny story. Try and understand. So let me begin reading. I caught sight of her at the play, and in answer to her call, I went over during the interval and sat down beside her. It was long since I had last seen her, and if someone had not mentioned her name, I hardly think I would have recognized her. She addressed me brightly. Well, it's many years since we first met. How time does fly. We are none of us getting any younger. Do you remember the first time I saw you? You asked me to luncheon. As I told you, luncheon means a midday lunch. Did I remember? Now, students, till this sentence, did I remember? Till here, the story is going in present tense, means present time. And in the next para, the story goes in the past, means the writer is trying to recall what had happened with him in the past. Okay, so let us see. I'll read one more para for you. It was 20 years ago and I was living in Paris. I had a tiny apartment and I was earning barely enough money. She had read a book of mine and had written to me about it. I answered, thanking her, and presently I received from her another letter saying she was passing through Paris and would like to have a chat with me. But her time was limited and the only free moment she had was on the following Thursday. And would I give her a little luncheon at Foyot's afterward? Foyot's is a restaurant and it was so far beyond my means that I had never even thought of going there. I had 80 francs, that is gold francs, to last me the rest of the month, and a modest luncheon should not cost more than 15. If I cut coffee for the next 2 weeks, I could manage well enough. Children, here modest means small. And to cut off coffee is a phrase which means to sacrifice having coffee, or I can say to not have coffee for the next 2 weeks. So let us see the explanation of these 3 paragraphs. I'm starting my explanation from para number 1. So as I told you, this para number 1 and 2 is shown as a present time scenario, and from para number 3 we'll be going in the flashback, that will be our past, means 20 years ago. So first let us see the first 2 paras. So here the writer says, that is the William says, that I caught sight of that old acquaintance. Now what is mean by old acquaintance? Now this lady is old, okay, because now William is meeting after 20 years, as it is mentioned in the third para. So they are meeting after 20 years and he is saying, I caught sight of this old acquaintance. What do you mean by acquaintance, means I know this lady, but I'm not so well aware, you're not so friendly, you're not so close. You might have met once or twice. It happens, children, that many a times we meet someone once or twice or thrice, but we don't become so friendly or very close to them. So that's the scenario with the writer and this lady. So he's saying, once upon a time I have met her, and now I'm meeting her again, and so I'm calling her old after 20 years. And where did I meet her? At a play, that is at a drama that I and she attended. I and she was present in the same drama. So William says, they met during the interval. It was an interval time. They met. Okay. And further, he said that I went during the interval period. I went near her and sat down beside her, that is next to her. And the moment I sat beside her, I didn't remember that who she was, unless someone introduced me. After a long time I was meeting and I couldn't recognize her if someone had not mentioned her name. Means someone came to tell her name, and then I recalled, okay, this is the lady whom I have met 20 years ago, and I knew her. So let us see, how is the lady meeting with William. The woman spoke to him with joy, and she was very happy to meet William, and she asked William that, do you remember the luncheon that we had years ago, after they had met first? The writer says the writer had found very difficult to forget that particular luncheon. Writer is saying, how can I forget? Means writer is trying to say that I have not forgot it yet. Means that not at all I have forgot. I've remembered that luncheon very well. And let us see that why the writer is trying to tell us that, yes, I have not forgotten that lunch, that is the luncheon. So he is taking us to the 20 years ago, that is a past scenario. Let us see what is the writer trying to tell us. So the writer is telling that I was living in Paris 20 years ago, and he takes us to flashback. Means the writer is taking to the flashback of the story. The writer is saying that at that time I used to live in a very tiny apartment, a very small flat, and I was barely earning enough money for himself. Barely means, very less money. It was not enough for my own expenditure. That amount of less money I used to earn at that time. That time I was not so famous, as we have seen in the introductory para, that now he has become very famous, and so he is the highest paid writer. But at that time, that is 20 years ago, when he was living in the Paris, at that time he wasn't as rich as he was. In fact, he was earning very, very less amount, which was not even enough for his monthly expenditure. Living a life at that time was difficult for him, and he only knew how he was managing his monthly expenses. So he says, this woman at that time had read a book of mine, okay, and once she wrote me a letter, she dropped me a letter, and in that letter she appreciated me, means William, and she mentioned that I have become your big fan, and she expressed that I wish to meet you, I wish to chat with you, but as I'm passing through Paris, I'm going to visit Paris, but due to the limitation of the time, because I have come here only for a limited time, and from those days also I am free only on Thursday. So I wish to meet you once, because I never know when I'll be able to meet you next time. So this was all what the lady expresses and also appreciates in the letter which she dropped to William at that time, that is 20 years ago. And so she asked the writer that if the writer was free to take her for a lunch at Fayot's. Children, Fayot is the name of a restaurant, and this is a very, very expensive restaurant. Okay. Now, hearing this, the writer says that luncheon at the restaurant Fayot was something I could not afford, because I mentioned you, my dear children, that he cannot manage his monthly expenditure. Somehow he was living his life, and giving a luncheon treat at a very expensive, or I can say 5-star hotel, was next to impossible for William. So he says, I couldn't afford, but I can't directly refuse her. So I started calculating, and I just try to make sure how much money do I have, how much money is left with me. And he says that at that time I had only 80 gold franc to last for the rest of the month, and that was the amount which I have to manage throughout the month. And then he started thinking that even if I agree and if I go for a decent lunch, now what do you mean by decent? A small lunch, limited. If I order limited things also, then it would cost approximately 18, francs. So he calculated that for 2 weeks, for next 2 weeks, I'll have to cut down coffee, my morning coffee. I would have to cut down, means I will not drink coffee, and those coffees 15 francs I could invest in this decent lunch, as I cannot refuse that lady. So he says I could manage with the remaining, that is 65, I guess 65 francs for the rest of the month with that money. Okay. And he was like, yeah, it's okay, like I have to give her a treat, I can't refuse her. And so he calculated, and he started replying through a letter, because the lady had dropped a letter questioning him that can we meet on Thursday, as I'm free only on Thursday. Let's see what William replied to her question in the next paragraphs. So let me read further. I answered that I would meet my friend at Fayot's on Thursday at 12:30. She was in appearance imposing rather than attractive, and she gave me the impression of having more teeth, white and large, and even then were necessary for any practical purpose. She was talkative, but since she seemed to want to talk about me, I was prepared to be an attentive listener. I was startled when the menu was brought, for the prices were a great deal higher than I had thought, but she reassured me. Startled means surprise. Reassured means to set someone's mind at rest, I never eat anything for luncheon, she said. Oh, don't say that, I answered generously. I never eat more than one thing. I think people eat for too much nowadays. A little fish, perhaps. Wonder if they have any salmon. Perhaps means possibly. Salmon is a type of a fish. My dear children, salmon is a very expensive fish. The one who eats might be knowing that the Indian name for salmon is ravas, and everyone knows that ravas is quite expensive and quite tastier. Okay, so let us see ahead. Well, it was early in the year for salmon, and it was not on the menu. But I asked the waiter if there was any. Yes, a beautiful salmon had just come in, and it was the first they had had. I ordered it for my guest, that is, that lady. The waiter asked her if she would have something while it was being cooked. No, she answered. I never eat more than one thing unless you had a little caviars. I never mind caviars. Now, what is caviars, my dear children? Caviars are the eggs of the large fish. So even salmon, big salmons have eggs, and it is often said. I mean, I have heard from many people that caviars are tastier than any other thing. Okay, so actually caviars are considered to be more, I can say, the most tastiest one, more tastier than fish. Let's see ahead. I knew I could not afford caviar, but I could not very well tell her that. For myself, I chose the cheapest dish on the menu, and that was a mutton chop. I think you are unwise to eat meat, she said. I don't believe in overloading my stomach. So let us see, children. Imposing means impressive. This word is on page number 151, last para, third line. Startled, as I told you, there and that itself means shock. Caviars means fish eggs. Okay, so let us understand what these paragraphs tell. So finally the writer did the calculation, and he said that he has to sacrifice his 2 weeks coffee, and in that 2 week coffee's money, that is in 15 francs, he can manage to give a small, that is decent lunch treat to that lady who claimed to be writer's fan. And he started replying via letter, and he wrote that yes, he agreed that yes, we can meet at Fayot's on Thursday at 12:30. Now Thursday the writer has arrived on the Fayot's restaurant venue, and the lady came. So he says that I imagine that that lady would be very graceful, very beautiful lady would come. But when the writer met that lady, the writer felt that she was impressive rather than attractive. Means she was very good in talks, but not so much good in looks. Means she was really beautiful. The writer felt that she had more teeth in her mouth, which was necessary, because she used to continuously go on talking, and that's what the writer is saying. The woman liked to talk, and so the writer says that I was prepared and I was ready to be an attentive listener, because she was going on and on talking and talking and talking. So I thought I need to be attentive listener. Here I am just a listener. Okay, I am playing the role of a listener. Soon the menu was brought to them by the waiter. The moment the writer took the menu card in his hand, children, I just feel very funny to tell you all this. See, the moment we go, you might have experienced this when we go to a restaurant. Of course, we try to order the dishes which we have in our mind, or which we wish to eat, or which we desire, and so that so we are like, we are not. I can say we are not concerned about the rates, but imagine the ones who do not, they can't afford, and when they go to a restaurant, like we see the menu card from left to right, that is from the dish name to the price, and the ones who can't afford, they see from right to left, that is from price list to the dish name. So same happened with the writer. The writer says when the moment I saw the menu card, I was shocked, I was startled, because the prices of the dishes were much higher than I predicted, and then as I calculated, it was the decent lunch was not gonna be in 15 francs, But the lady reassured the writer that she never ate anything for the lunch. She said that I don't eat, I don't have lunch. Now, children, when the guest, like for example, I'm gonna set an example for you. When sometime guests arrive at our home, and we try to keep some type of refreshment in front of them, some snacks or some juice or welcome drink, and we ask them, we offer them, and they say like, nah, theek hai, we have taken, it's okay. and we say, no, no, don't be formal, have it, have this, have this. So in the same way, when the lady refused, that she said that I don't have lunch, I never eat lunch. So the writer, in the same way, the way we offer the guest, we treat the guest that no, please take this, please take this. In the same way, the writer generously requested her to have at least something, to have something at least. And the woman replied that she never eat more than one thing, and thought that the people who eat far, that is too much than necessary. She says, like, I eat only one thing at a time at lunch, whereas I've seen many people eating too much lunch, heavy lunch, which is not necessary, because it is said that your lunch should be little light as compared to your breakfast. Your breakfast must be the heaviest one. And so she said, like, I don't want to have a heavy thing, so I'll order a little salmon. Now children, let me tell you one thing, fishes are considered to be the light meal, because if you eat, your tummy don't get so full, or you don't feel so heavy when you eat a fish. So she agreed to have a little salmon. So the writer started hunting for the salmon dish in the menu card, but it wasn't available in the menu card. It wasn't written in the menu card, as it was not available in the menu. Why? Because it was the early time of the year, and at that time, in the early time, catching fish was little hard, But still, the writer called the waiter and he inquired that, don't you have salmon? And on inquiry, the waiter said that, yes, we have a beautiful catch of salmon, and the salmon has just arrived in the restaurant, and if you order it, you will be the first customer of today, to have that salmon. So the writer ordered salmon for his guest, that is the lady. Now the waiter asked the lady that, would you have something else while the salmon was being cooked? Still the same happened with us when we go to a restaurant, like when we order some starter, for example, some paneer tikka or some spring rolls, and by the time it get cooked, the waiter asks us that, would you like to have some refreshment, like papad or masala papad, something like that. You can understand what I'm trying to tell. In the same way, the waiter asked the lady that while the time the salmon is being cooked, would you like to have something, and let's see what the lady replies. Okay, she says, she answered in negative, but also said that, she said, no, I don't eat more than one thing, as I told, but she didn't mind having a little caviar. And children, I told you that caviar means the fish eggs. And let me tell you, my dear children, caviars are much more expensive than fish. Here, the writer knew that he couldn't afford the fish, so how come he is gonna afford the caviars? But this thing he can't tell to that lady who's his guest. He can't reveal this thing to her. So he ordered caviars too for the lady guest. And for himself, he ordered the cheapest dish on the menu card, that was mutton chops. Yes, my dear children, fishes are comparatively much expensive than mutton. So he ordered mutton chop for himself, means he compromised on himself and ordered the expensive dishes for the lady guest. And the moment the writer ordered a mutton chop, let's see the comment given by the lady to him. The woman says or expresses her opinion. She says, it's very unwise, this is very unfair that you eat meat and you overload your stomach. How can you eat meat? You know, when meat is so heavy meal, you can't have such a heavy meal for your lunch. Why don't you set my example? Why don't you eat light? But writer within was thinking, forget eating light. What about eating expensive? You are eating light, but you are eating expensive, whereas I'm eating heavy, but I'm eating cheap. But he was like, how can I tell this thing to her? You know? So that was about till the paragraph I read. Moving to the further paragraphs. She ate the caviar and she ate the salmon. She talked gaily of art and literature and music, but I wondered what the bill would come to. When my mutton chop arrived, she took me quite seriously to task. I see you are in the habit of eating a heavy luncheon. I'm sure it's a mistake. Why don't you follow my example and just eat one thing? I couldn't possibly eat anything more unless they had some of those giant asparagus. Children, asparagus is a type of a vegetable. I should be sorry to leave Paris without having some of them. My heart sank. I'd seen them in the shops and I knew that they were horribly expensive. Here, horribly means very, very expensive. My mouth had often water at the sight of them. I'm not in the least hungry, my guests sigh. But if you insist, I don't mind having some asparagus. I ordered them. Aren't you going to have any? No, I never eat asparagus. Children, to take to a task. This is a phrase. Okay. That is given in the first para from where I read. Means to scold. She started scolding the writer. Let us see why. So, the caviar arrived, the salmon arrived, and the lady ate both the caviars and the salmon. And the writer and the lady were having conversation, and then they talk about art, then they talk about literature, and then they were talking about music. And here she was going on talking and talking, as I told you in the beginning only, that she was very talkative and the writer was attentive listener, and writer was not paying attention to the lady's talk. In fact, he was very concerned about what the amount on the bill would be. He was so worried. When the writer's mutton chop was brought to the table, the woman scolded him very badly for eating unhealthy dish. She said that how can you eat so heavy dish, that is mutton? And she was sure that he was making a mistake by eating a heavy lunch. The woman advised the writer to follow her example and eat just one thing. Whereas, my dear children, you know that she is not eating one thing. She already had two things. But she is just giving, that I just eat one thing. So, I told you in the beginning only that this is the humorous story. She also included that she couldn't eat anything. Now she is done, as she has already eaten salmon and caviars. But then suddenly she expresses that I couldn't eat anything more unless I can have some giant, means very big asparagus. Now what is asparagus, my dear children? Asparagus are the shoots of the plant. It's a kind of a vegetable. Okay. The woman added that if I don't eat asparagus after visiting Paris, then I will be very sorry to leave Paris without having, because Paris asparagus are very famous. The moment the writer heard this, the writer's heart sank. He got shocked because he knew that asparagus were extremely expensive. He himself could never afford to buy. He himself have not eaten asparagus ever, though his mouth has water. The writer's mouth had water many a time seeing the asparagus sight, but he couldn't afford, so he haven't eaten ever. And here this lady is telling that I want to eat asparagus after eating caviars and after eating salmon. What a shameless lady. The woman shamelessly said that she was not hungry at all, but wouldn't mind having some asparagus, children. And also telling that if you insist, you have seen, children, where I was reading those paragraphs, the writer did not insist. It was only the first time when he insisted, when that time she was denying, and that time the writer had insisted. But that point the lady has got, and now she is telling that if you insist, then I don't mind eating asparagus. And the writer was forced to order, because shamelessly she is expressing her wish. So how can the writer, become dumb and can't order it? So the writer was forced to order some asparagus for the guest. Then the lady is asking the writer, if he was not interested in having, then she's asking to writer also that, don't you want to eat? That means maybe she was in the point of ordering more. The writer quickly replied, no, I never ate asparagus, and I'm not in a interest to have it. So because the writer knew that God knows if she order more, what will happen. And this way the order was again taken by the waiter, and they were waiting for the asparagus to arrive on their table. And children, this was about the story. The story hasn't got completed yet. I'll stop today's video here, and we'll be seeing the further part in part 2 of the lesson, as I've divided this lesson in part 2. This video is about part 1, and further you will see in part 2. So till then, take care. I hope you have followed the lesson. Thank you.